Hi, welcome to Phoenix English. I'm Omid. Today's lesson is a bit of a grammar lesson, a specific point I'm going to look at. And this is to followed by an ing word or an ing verb, it looks like. For some people, this is very confusing because they automatically see to and they think it should be followed by a verb. Now, the one thing that a lot of people forget is that to can be a preposition, and that is what you're going to be looking at when you're looking at to with an ing. But there are also some things you have to remember. You have to keep in mind that there are certain collocations. A collocation is basically a set of words, a pair or three or four words, that just generally go together to have a particular meaning. So for example, look forward to. These three words generally go together and they're gonna be followed by an ing. I look forward to meeting you. Now, where people get confused is they see a verb and then they see the to and they're automatically thinking of another verb. But here, this to is not part of the infinitive. There's two uses for to, preposition and the infinitive to, right? Part of the infinitive verb. What you have to remember is that preposition. Admit to. The student admitted to cheating on the test. So, admitted to what? Remember, the preposition needs an object, and that's what you're going to be answering when you answer the question, what? And objects in this particular case are going to be nouns or they're going to be gerunds. They can also be active participle adjectives, but I'll talk about that in a second. Admit to cheating. Object to being filmed. For example, I'm a politician and I see a camera coming and I say, no, sorry, I object to being filmed. You can ask me questions, but don't film me, basically. Get around to means you will do something. So, I'll get around to handing in the proposal later today. Okay? So basically what you have to do is just remember these collocations. When it gets a little bit trickier is when you have adjectives. Just before that, prefer. I forgot to mention. I prefer jogging to swimming. Do you like jogging? Well, I prefer it to swimming. So it doesn't have to be an ing. It can be it mentioned before and then to ing. But this is a comparative to, preposition. And again, to what? To the noun or gerund. So this is a gerund. It's not a verb, and that's why it can follow to. Now let's look at something a little bit trickier, and I'll show you a general rule on how you can recognize whether to use to as a preposition or a verb. Now, we're going to look at something a little bit different. We're going to look at adjective participles. Now, participles are basically verbs that are used as adjectives. They can be like ed or irregular verb, and they can be ing verbs, passive and active. You have to also pay attention to how they are being used in the sentence. Let's look at an example. The company is committed to providing top quality customer care. So here we have a verb, commit, and we have is committed to. But here we are not actually looking at it as a passive verb. We are looking at it as more like an adjective. The company is committed, right? So this is telling you about the company. It's like a subject complement. It's acting like an adjective. And here, this is a complement. So basically, what does this mean? You have to look and see what is your independent clause first. So here, the company is committed. This is a complete sentence. The company is committed. To what? I don't know yet. But it's a complete sentence because I have my subject, I have my verb, and technically the idea is there. They're committed. But it's not complete. So I want to add a complement. When I'm adding a complement, then I'm adding to providing. Committed to what? Providing top quality customer care. I'm adding a prepositional phrase as a complement to my independent clause. I don't need it in terms of grammar. I need it in terms of idea, to have a complete idea. But the main thing you need to remember is that these two often go together. When you're using committed as an adjective like a participle, you're going to use committed to, devoted to, obliged to. These are things that need to be completed, but it's not an object. Okay? I am not used to being interviewed. Now, here, I am not used. This is not a complete idea, and it's not a complete sentence because of the used. Although technically this is still an adjective participle. It's being used like an adjective. But used to and accustomed to, even though they're not really complete, we use these as collocations. And they're always gonna need to be completed. To what? To being. Used to being. Used to doing. Now keep in mind, we're talking about not used to like something I did in the past that I don't do now. It's used to as in habit, something you've become comfortable with. Accustomed to basically means the same as used to, habit, used to. In some cultures, people are accustomed to what? Taking their shoes off. So here, being is the object to. Taking is the object to. Because I need to complete the meaning of the preposition. Prepositions take objects, okay? The neighborhood was divided into. Now I gave you another example with into just to make sure to drive home the idea that these are prepositions. They're not infinitive particles, basically. The neighborhood was divided into warring factions. Now everybody knows war, but here warring is now an adjective. It's a participle adjective, an active participle adjective. And this is the noun. Into still needs an object. There's the object. Again, I just want to make sure that it's clear that we are using prepositions. Interested. Although technically it is a verb, it is being used as an adjective. Concerned is a verb being used as an adjective. They take different prepositions, but the idea is all the same. I'm interested in doing something. I'm concerned about giving away all my secrets, etc. On the other hand, I need. This is a complete sentence, but need is a transitive verb. Means it must take an object. I need something. In this case, to do. I use the infinitive verb because infinitive verbs can act as objects to a transitive verb. Prepositional phrases are generally used as complements, not objects. They're used as complements to an independent clause. Now, all of this, of course, depends on your understanding of what is an independent clause and what is a phrase and what is a complement, okay? Make sure you understand all of these because then this will all become much easier. But the point here, you can follow to with an ing. Just remember that the ing is not a verb, okay? It's a gerund or in some cases, it can be an adjective. That's the key to remember here. And of course, if you liked the video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and come back for more different varying degrees of grammar lessons for all English learning levels. See you soon again.